This is TNT Sports, home of NASCAR's Race to the Championship.
It's Labor Day weekend, and in the NASCAR world since 1950, that has meant Darlington, South Carolina. Today, rain threatens, so the NASCAR Busch Series drivers are already got their engines started. They're getting ready for the green flag. Headlining the field, the current NASCAR Busch Series championship leader Kevin Harvick, who scored his 5th win of the season last Friday at Bristol, pulling through the field in a style some of his competitors took exception to. This race for a second year in a row. Would you believe he was 2 laps down? He's made them both up and scored the victory.
Had to get a little aggressive with a few of them, but you got to do what you got to do to win, right?
I guess that's the way to win them now. I don't know. I guess he'll be able to sleep all right tonight.
I think the hardest one was green.
If he wants to win races like that, that's fine. I think I'll win more than not. Surely not a lot of people will.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot of time.
TNT Sports presents NASCAR. Today, it's the NASCAR Busch Series South Carolina 200 presented by Applebee's. The Darlington Raceway, well known as the toughest track for a driver to master, and now 43 are set to measure their daring and bravery as all the sports greats have done for the past 52 years. Alan Bestwick with Benny Parsons and Wally Dallenbach set to bring you the call. First, let's take a look at the Castrol starting lineup for today's race. On the front row, it's Ryan Newman with his 4th pole in 11 races this year. Mike Skinner's alongside, and South Carolina native Jason Keller in row 2. Kenny Wallace comes from the 7th starting spot in row 4. Matt Kenseth has 5 top 5s in 8 races here. He's in row 9.
Got Elton Sawyer there starting at 17th spot. He knows how to finish in the top 10 here. He's done this last 3 times.
At the 24th spot, Jeff Burton finished 2nd and 3rd here at Darlington last year and was very good in happy hour yesterday.
Jeffrey Bodine, whose first NASCAR Busch Series win here was in 1982. He's got to come from row 14 today. Ron Hornaday among the Winston Cup stars in today's race. For the poor qualifying spot, Hornaday's got to come from 34th position. And now the drivers who took provisionals to get into the South Carolina 200 and bring up the back end of the field. Couple of laps before they cut him loose under the green flag. Let's get some stories from pit road. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Alan, last Saturday night, point leader Kevin Harvick padded his points lead and his wallet with a controversial bump-and-run victory over his future teammate Jeff Green. No official midweek apologies to Green. Instead, Harvick has turned his focus toward continuing his harried pace of 2 wins and 1 runner-up finish in his last 3 starts. He's never won here in Darlington. His worst finish is 15th, 2 straight top 10s, but he earned that famous Darlington stripe in qualifying and will roll off 14th. He thinks today could be the day he breaks through on the famed Lady in Black. To Marty Snyder.
Matt, racing at Darlington for Jason Keller is like racing at Daytona for everyone else. This is his Super Bowl. You see, Jason's from Greenville, South Carolina, about 2.5 hours west of here. About 100 friends and family members are here to watch Jason today. He said last night he slept for about an hour because he was so excited. Last time out, he finished 3rd here, and he feels better than ever today about his chances for his first ever home state victory. To Dave Burns.
Marty, he's fast, but can he finish? That is still the wrap on Ryan Newman. He finished first just a couple of weeks ago at Michigan with a breakthrough victory. But this is Darlington. This is a track that can break you. And for a rookie driver, it can be very intimidating. He starts first again. He's very fast. Can he finish it all? Can he finish first? Ryan Newman thinks he can. Alan?
All right, Dave, thank you, and good afternoon from Darlington, South Carolina. Alan Bestwick here with Benny Parsons and Wally Dallenbach as we get set to bring you the South Carolina 200 presented by Applebee's. Darlington, well known as the sport's most difficult track for drivers to master. BP, why is it so tough, and how about the inexperienced drivers in the field today? How are they going to handle it?
We talked about they built a racetrack in 1950. speed's about 100 miles per hour. Not a lot has changed to this racetrack in 52 years, except the speeds have gone up to around 165, 70 miles per hour. It's still the same old tough racetrack, and it hates inexperienced race car drivers. It loves experience and just hates inexperience.
Another thing this track loves to eat would be tires, and Wally, tires will be a major story in today's race.
Yeah, this racetrack is a very gritty racetrack, and it tears up the tires very quickly. So you'll see what we talk about racing the racetrack. You'll see a lot of guys, especially going into turns 1 and turn 3. The guy on the outside really has to get out of it because the cars slide up the racetrack so much getting in the corner. If you're the guy on the outside, you get in the middle of a sandwich, and you're going to be bouncing off the wall.
Now, it's going to be an interesting, slippery, slipping and sliding day under good conditions for the drivers today here at Darlington. 147 laps make up the 200-mile distance. This track a little over a mile and a third around. And the winner's share today, $35,000 out of a $725,000 purse. There have been some reports of sprinkles peppering the track here and there, so they're taking an extra pace lap or two than were originally planned. Radioing back and forth to some of the drivers in the cars from their crew chiefs on pit road. And the word is that now it will be 1 lap to go and we'll get started. Wally, you're out there in the car. You've seen a raindrop or two hit the windshield, and you got to face turn 1 at Darlington. Wow.
Yeah, that's a big, tall order. This place is slippery anyway, and getting in through turn 1 and 2, probably one of the most difficult things that we'll see the driver do at any racetrack because it's so tight. Everybody has got to be careful getting through 1 and 2 because it's so easy to get into somebody and bounce off the wall. And you bounce off the wall here, and it could damage your toe in and your toe out, and it could ruin your whole day on the first lap.
I think that turn 1, they can get in there 2 abreast. But when they get to 2, they've got to get single file.
Storylines will follow during today's South Carolina 200, presented by Applebee's. We just discussed it a minute ago. Tires, when you take them and how you manage them from inside the car, will be key today.
Will experience win? The veterans versus the newcomers. Can Ryan Newman beat Jeff Burton, Mike Skinner? And these guys have been coming to the Darlington Raceway for many, many years.
And old Happy Harvick, kind of on a roll here, got his 5th win of the season last week at Bristol. And will he get number 6? Harvick running his car from the 14th starting spot, and you could see some raindrops peppering the camera lens there. They've waved off the green flag because of that weather. So let's take a commercial break and keep our fingers crossed that we'll be able to start when we come back. The South Carolina 200 on TNT is presented by Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood, Applebee's. Here's our Wendy's race menu. What's coming up here on TNT as we continue to follow the race for the championship after today's NASCAR Busch Series event? It's Winston Cup Happy Hour. Getting ready for tomorrow's 52nd Mountain Dew Southern 500. Hope you'll be with us 12:30 Eastern Time here on TNT. If you miss any of it, NASCAR Night Encore coming up Monday night, late night at 1 a.m. Well, we're kind of vacillating back and forth here. The field was given the 1-to-go signal when they came off turn 4. Now they're off turn 2, and they've waved off the start.
These cars, I mean, if this was a horse race, no problem. The horses can go through the mud. But these cars just cannot run on slick racetracks. The tires that they use are slick tires. They have no tread whatsoever. There's no place for the water to go. And they run around this racetrack right on the edge of out of control. You almost spit on the racetrack, and a car hit it, and they're going to lose control. So
nothing but hydroplane.
No, NASCAR has no choice but to make sure that the racetrack is perfectly dry when they throw the green flag.
And now our unofficial, uncertified TNT meteorologist here at Darlington today, Matt Yoakum, with an update on the weather. Matt?
Alan, let me begin by apologizing to my weathercasting professor at Florida State University. But a quick update here. You can see the Darlington Raceway, the little arrow, that's where we are. You can see this whole line of showers all the way to the west of us, all the way to the edge of South Carolina. I understand 2 hours west of here in Charlotte, it is pouring. So the sprinkles around the Darlington Raceway have been hit and miss, light and heavy. Right now it's a little bit lighter. Hopefully we can at least make it to the halfway point. But there's a lot of green all the way to the west of us. To Dave.
And some green tarps, too, Matt. The teams have been putting tarps down up and off of pit road, putting jack stands and everything down to keep them down. And then the officials will come up to them and say, oh, we got one to go. So they have to take them all back up. So they take them all back up again, roll them up, put them out of the way. And then they said, no, the rain's here. So they put them back out again. So right now the teams have gone to the wet mode and put their tarps out on pit road, trying to keep their pit area dry, because once it gets wet, then it tends to stay wet. So they're trying to stay ahead of the rain, just like we are right now.
Hey, Dave, what color is that tarp? Please look down.
This is a blue one, but see right up here, okay. Benny, right up here, this is a green tarp, right here. Just like I was trying to tell Matt Yoakum.
I was terrified that you were colorblind there for a minute.
We almost had him.
That was a good comeback, Dave.
Attaboy, Dave. All right, what's it going to be this time? One to go or not one to go?
Sure, let's give it one.
And the story is it's one to go.
Well, this is the third time. The third time is a charm, right?
Right.
Next time we'll see the green flag.
How about it, driver?
Well, actually, the drivers are really probably calling the shots here. I mean, NASCAR has they have to make the decision, but they're talking to the drivers as well as the pace car driver, what's it look like. But probably the first 2 or 3 rows, they're asking those drivers, what's the track look like? Are you guys ready to go?
Marty?
Well, let's find out from Matt Borland, the crew chief for the man on the pole. What's the track look like? What's Ryan said?
He hasn't said much about the track yet. It's been sprinkling the whole time, so hopefully they don't start this thing, but we'll see.
You don't think this is psyching them out, do you?
No, definitely not.
All right. They, of course, won just a couple weeks ago at Michigan. And on the pole today is Ryan Newman, and he's been radioing to the crew saying the track is a little bit wet. It has not stopped sprinkling down here for the last few minutes, and it continues to do so right now, but very lightly.
Well, like I said, the drivers have nothing to do with this call. It's all NASCAR.
You know, it's terrifying when the pace car is riding in front of the race cars with its windshield wiper.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
That's a bad sign.
Now let's watch those lights. If those lights pop back on, that means we're not going, but...
Right now there's radio traffic going back and forth between the race director, David Hoots, and the pace car driver. And he just asked him as they went into turn 3, how's it look, Dennis? Dennis said, we're ready to go, Tower. So they are coming to the green. 200 laps at Darlington, 200 miles at Darlington, 147 laps. Ryan Newman and Mike Skinner on the front row. Turn 1 at Darlington's tricky enough. Hope it's not wet as they go off into the corner.
Green flag, green flag.
Oh, man, that is so scary watching these cars go through the corner with raindrops on the camera lens. Matt Kenseth underneath the 48 car. Kenny Wallace takes a spot away.
That'll be 7th place for Kenseth. Here's Jimmy Spencer up to the inside to try and get a spot. Black flag for Larry Foyt. He will come to pit road for a stop-and-go penalty. That's Mike Skinner that's getting shuffled. Is that Skinner? No, it's Lyndon Amick that's getting shuffled back.
You know, sometimes you hear tire management. I'm not quite sure what that means here at Darlington, but when you start the race, when you have new tires, probably the first 4 or 5 laps, you can really be aggressive with the car because that's the best the tires are going to be. But you're also going to knock off the good out of them real quick. So if you're going to gain positions, now's the time to do it.
Here's Kevin Grubb trying to pick up a spot on Mike McLaughlin. That's 11th place.
The Dr. Pepper car, Bobby Hamilton Jr. running in 10th position.
McLaughlin in the 18, driving for Joe Gibbs. And Grubb kind of on a little roll here lately. Not spectacular racing for wins, but after a disastrous start to the season, they've been knocking off top 10 finishes regularly. This is 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The 57 is Keller, the 10 is Jeff Green, the 1 is Jimmy Spencer.
The 57 and 10 are team cars, team drivers.
You heard Marty's report on Jason Keller before the start. I talked with Jason earlier today as well. Jason is from South Carolina, grew up here, still lives here. He said Darlington is the thing. If I can win here, it will be the highlight of my career so far.
And Larry Foyt comes in to heed that black flag, and the leaders go by as he's sitting on pit road, so he will be a lap down.
Ryan Newman, the leader, starting to catch the back end of the field. 22 car is Drew White, driver who's run some on the ARCA circuit from Inverness, Florida. Somewhat off the pace. We'll see how long he's able to keep up to the minimum lap time requirement. Fourth place, Jeff Green and Jimmy Spencer. Green, the winner here at Darlington back in the spring.
Whoa, Jimmy got sideways getting off that corner.
Let's go to Liz Allison.
You know, Jeff Green won this race here in the spring, and a funny thing happened to him on his way to the race that weekend. On Thursday, heading to the track, he got a speeding ticket. Now, I want you to know, guys, on the way here this weekend, on Thursday, he got another speeding ticket. Could it be a good omen? I don't know. What do you think, Alan?
Well, now, that's not an uncommon occurrence on the way to Darlington from the Charlotte area. Is it, BP?
No, that's not a very uncommon thing at all. It happens to almost everyone.
Does it happen to anyone we know?
It has.
Anyone seated close to me?
It has.
Anyone speaking into a microphone?
It has. Yes, it has. But not lately, I might add.
Uh-huh. There are a couple of stretches between Charlotte and Darlington where the local officials enforce the speed limit rather vigorously.
Look at Kevin Grubb and on the Bobby Hamilton Jr. racing hard position.
So, BP, you didn't answer the question. Did you get a ticket on the way down here or not?
I got to tell you the story. It's 1970. Remember Richard Petty had the big crash over off turn 4 than it was? Well, he crashed on Thursday, and I couldn't believe his car end for end and tore the wall down. I couldn't wait to get home and tell someone about the crash. Going through Society Hill, South Carolina, a trooper pulled me over. As he's riding the ticket, I got to tell somebody. I said, man, you should have seen Richard Petty. He tore his car all to pieces down at Darlington just a few minutes ago. And the trooper said, yeah, no, I just talked to Richard about 15 minutes ago. So he made a bad day for Richard Petty even worse.
Just underway, dodging the rain here at Darlington. The early leader is Ryan Newman in the South Carolina 200 by Applebee's. Back at Darlington Raceway, yes, the cars are at reduced speed. The caution is out for rain. We got 12 laps in. We need 147 to make up the distance. It's raining at Darlington. We're back in a minute on TNT. Carolina 200, presented by Applebee's, is under caution for rain. Rain is threatening all around, and it's peppering the racetrack now. Obviously not heavy enough for them to stop the field under the red flag, but enough that we can't go at it full steam. Ryan Newman's the leader, Mike Skinner's second, followed by Jason Keller, Jeff Green, and Jimmy Spencer. Then you've got Lyndon Amick, Matt Kenseth, Kenny Wallace in 8th, Jimmy Johnson 9th, and Bobby Hamilton Jr. rounds out the top 10.
Let's try to talk to Kenny Wallace and see how wet the racetrack is. Kenny Wallace, Benny Parsons, you read me?
Yeah, Benny, I read you.
Okay, how wet is the track? How soon do we expect it back racing?
Well, Benny, you know, the track looks pretty dark right now, so it's pretty wet. I think we're going to have to ride around here a little bit. The only way we can gauge it, you know, is for the track to get lighter. You know yourself, this pavement's pretty wore out, so when the pavement starts getting real white, that's when you know it's dry. It looks like you got the dryers out here on the back stretch now.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, look at those white vehicles on the inside of you. The jet dryers are coming out.
10-4, we need them to the rescue. I got a pretty good car here. I'm excited. I'm ready to go back racing.
Okay, but remember, you got to call your spotter by name.
Yeah, 10-4. That's old fat boy. His real name's Donnie Epling, but I think you and him make a pair.
Well, yeah, that's a pair that'll be the full house, being fat boy.
10-4.
All right, take care of that red flag. Talk to you later.
They are bringing the field down onto pit road, and the South Carolina 200 will be put under the red flag for rain. So we'll take a commercial break here, talk to some drivers when we come back. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
except for him. And, you know, for most people, common people, it's terrifying, and that's what they're trying to do.
And he just admitted he doesn't know any better.
Yeah, well, but, you know, but also you've got a lot more competitive teams out there, so it's going to be closer racing. No matter what you do, you've got a lot of teams that have their act together, so you're going to have those packs. It may not be 40, but it's going to be 20 or maybe 25. So that's going to be tough to change that.
I think it's fair to say the drivers in NASCAR know that they've got to keep the cars so they can pass for the fans. That's what it's for. You've got to have cars that can race and pass on those big tracks. But if there is some compromise that can be made to make the drivers more comfortable, then it's worth exploring, and that's what this is all about. Whether anything's going to happen or not, nobody knows right now.
I think the only way to get them single file is give another 100 horsepower and lay the spoiler down. Then we're going to use the brakes getting in the corner, and you're going to have to drive the things. But really, the cars are, I think they're pretty good to drive, and that's where the problem is. Everybody is comfortable being 3 abreast, you know, 8, 9 rows deep.
I don't think that the drivers, you talk about a pack of 20 cars, I don't think if you go poll the drivers, they'd have a problem with 20 cars a pack, with 2, 3 wide. But I do think they really have a problem with 43, because in that 43 cars, there's someone that really and truly is inexperienced to be in that group.
I have good news. They're firing the engines. So we're going to take a commercial break and come back for the restart in the South Carolina 200 at Darlington, presented by Applebee's. Back at Darlington Raceway, the yellow flag back out over the South Carolina 200, and Ryan Newman's team going to work, replacing that left rear tire and checking for damage. Marty?
Well, and the reason they only replaced the left rear tire, Alan, was because if they put on 4 brand new tires, they would have only had 1 more set of tires for the rest of the race. That would have been a big detriment. They did make one adjustment. They went down on the track bar 1 round because it was a little loose. They checked everything underneath the car. It was fine. They had a plan in place before the red flag was pulled. They executed that plan very well, got the car into the pit box and changed that 1 tire. And so now he has 2 more sets of tires to go the rest of the race with.
And the surprise to me, Greg Biffle and Eldon Sawyer drove past their pit boxes and are going around the track under the caution with those flat tires.
And I don't understand that. If we get a shot of it, maybe the valence is off the racetrack, but with the flat tire, no, it looks like they're not hurting the valence there.
You were talking about that area right there where the front bumper is touching the racetrack, and it looks to me like it's not rubbing and damaging that front bumper or front air dam.
So both those cars, there's Eldon Sawyer's machine, are running on that safety inner liner that the cars run here on the super speedways. The tire within the tire, if you will, that keeps it up in the event of a failure. Keeps it off the ground and helps prevent a crash.
And at this speed, those tires, the outside tires, aren't going to get that hot. But if this car was running 2 or 3 times faster than it is right now, heat would build up in that left rear tire and it would just fling itself apart.
We were debating the merits of stopping in your box before you even went back out on the track. It would have meant they started at the end of the line. Whether or not that was a good gamble depends on right now. Pit road is open. How many cars come in?
Well, maybe what they're doing, and I'm speculating here, but if they wait till the last minute, maybe they'll come in and change that tire and top off with fuel.
Well, they're coming in right now, but the problem is only 2 cars. The gamble did not pay off them. Only 2 cars. The 2 guys with flat tires came down pit road.
So they took a chance on not tearing up the race car by running around the lap on the flat tire, and it's okay, but they're going to end up the same place they were anyway, which is at the back of the field. Marty Snyder waits on Sawyer and Biffle to get to their pit stalls. Marty?
Well, the reason they both stayed out and did not come in that last time, Alan, was because they did not want to get the penalty of pitting before pit road was open. Pit road is just now open, and they're going to check the air pressure on the left front tire for Eldon Sawyer. They're going to put 1 tire on the left rear. Same exact thing that Ryan Newman did on Greg Biffle's stop. However, just behind him, they are taking 4 brand new tires. That will leave Biffle with only 1 set of tires to finish this race with.
So Biffle heads back out.
Marty, I think you need to check with your NASCAR Busch Series official. I believe the cars get 3 sets of tires on the caution flag today.
And communication going on from the control tower to the pace car. Word is that the racetrack is ready to go, and they're going to get the 1 to go signal when they come to the start-finish line. Marty?
That would be correct, Parsons. That would be my fault. So that would be Biffle with having 2 sets of tires left. They do get 3 under the caution here. So that's a fine for Greg Biffle. And right now, Elton Sawyer's team is lobbying to get a free replacement for the 1 tire that went flat on their pit stop. So they're trying to get a free tire from Elton Sawyer's team.
Did Ryan get fuel when he came in? Why wouldn't you put fuel in the car? You've run 15 laps. Okay, maybe he's going to come in now and top it off.
Newman is on his way to pit road. Larry Foyt is coming in.
But you see now Ryan Newman has to restart the race behind, well, he's going to have to anyway, behind Greg Biffle and Elton Sawyer. He's going to have to start last anyway, so he might as well go down, get gas, anything else that he might need.
You started, you ran about 10 laps under the green. You had to shut it off. 23.5-minute red flag. Now you're back in the car again. Does it affect your mindset at all?
I don't think so. That was a quick red flag. Normally when you got to wait around for an hour or two, then it's different. But
waved off the restart, so we'll take a commercial break here and come back with more in a minute. Set to go back racing, and we have had a jam up under the caution flag. Steve Park and Larry Foyt.
What in the world?
I believe Foyt's a lap down because he made that penalty stop. I believe he was down to the inside trying to run up to the front on the double up on 1 to go.
That's what they were doing, and I don't know what happened. But
and I believe Park was trying to scrub his tires.
Yeah.
He zigged and Park zagged, and ouch.
This is unbelievable.
Some tore up race cars for a yellow.
Watch the top of your screen. You're going to see the purple car come into the picture. There's Foyt trying to get his way up to the front of the pack. Oh, Park got hit.
Oh, man.
Who's the yellow car behind Park?
Bad timing. Look at this.
Is that Dan Pardis?
Looks like
no. Park just spun. He just lost it.
Either something obviously had to break on that car, or something for the car to turn left that hard. He didn't just lose it at that speed.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's almost like an axle was broke or something for the car to turn like that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you see the skid mark right there? There's a skid mark right there. That's off, I believe, Steve's tire there.
It looks like he was trying to lunge the car forward with the accelerator, and as you said, the axle was broken and the car just turned left on him.
Steve took a heavy shot in the driver's side of the car, and you see the safety workers there working with he and Larry Foyt. Bizarre, and we'll hope they're both okay. We'll keep an eye on the situation for you and come back to Darlington in a minute on TNT. The South Carolina 200, presented by Applebee's on TNT, is brought to you by Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood, Applebee's. And by the Cat Rental Store, where you can rent cat equipment and a whole lot more. Under caution in the South Carolina 200, we were set to go back to the green from rain when a bizarre accident happened off of turn number 2. Larry Foyt was trying to get up to the front of the pack because he's a lap down and was going to restart to the inside of the leader, and Steve Park's car just mysteriously hung a left right in Foyt's path.
Yeah, watch the right rear of Steve Park's car. You'll see the skid marks there, right there, that black rubber. That's coming off the right rear. That almost looks like a left rear axle broke, and the right rear is driving the car down the racetrack. I don't know if that's what happens, but that's sure looks like that could be a possibility.
And Park got hit very hard on the driver's side of the machine.
Yeah, Larry had nowhere to go. I mean, he just, boom, the car was in front of him.
See the work still going on around the Steve Park car.
Once again, here, watch this car and watch Steve Park. All of a sudden, man, that's terrible impact. Park's car.
Dave Burns.
Alan, they're still all waiting in Steve Park's pits as to, what we can show them on screen or tell them. So they've been watching the replays, but The crew did tell me that they didn't have radio communication with Steve after the wreck. They did beforehand. And, of course, the radios are carried up there on the driver's side door. So that probably was, heard in the impact, but they have not heard Steve radio anything to them since the impact.
Boy. So we'll keep on top of the situation for you and bring you whatever update we can as soon as possible as the rescue workers continue to work with Steve Park over on the backstretch. Back at Darlington Raceway, 24 laps into the South Carolina 200 presented by Applebee's under the yellow flag. We had not yet gone back racing from the rain when a bizarre accident happened off of turn 2. Steve Park's car just hung a left, possibly for mechanical failure reasons. We don't know. Right in the path of Larry Foyt's car, who was trying to double up in the inside lane on the restart. Foyt clobbered Park on the driver's side of his machine, and you see the scene there as the safety workers continue to work with Steve and work to remove him from his car. They have cut the top from the machine. You know, obviously this is a serious situation, but at the same time, that's not an unusual thing in an accident where they want to put the driver on the backboard and stabilize his head and neck for possible to keep from possibly injuring him further, trying to remove him from the car. So,
well, by cutting the roof off the car, they can lift the driver straight out of the automobile. Don't have to try to squeeze him through some driver's door or whatever. So if there's any kind of unknown injury or whatever, they will cut the roof off in a heartbeat to get that driver straight out.
We will monitor the situation, bring you whatever update we can as soon as we possibly can. Right now, let's take a commercial break from Darlington. It's the South Carolina 200 presented by Applebee's for the NASCAR Busch Series from Darlington, South Carolina. The scene remains unchanged from when we broke away. The safety workers still attending to Steve Park, who is still inside his car at the accident scene off of turn number 2. We'll give you whatever updates we can as soon as we can. Right now, obviously they're still working with Steve at the scene, and there is no more information than that to pass along. While this is going on, let's check elsewhere on what's happening in the race. Here's Marty Snyder.
Well, and obviously our focus is what's going on the backstretch, but let's try to straighten up this situation with the tires for Elton Sawyer and Greg Biffle. Remember, they both had a flat tire, and they came in. Here is the cut on Elton Sawyer's tire, and his team did get a replacement for that tire. The reason they got a replacement is because when they came down pit road, they changed only that tire. They put on the left rear tire they qualified with, and that's what Elton is on right now. Now, Greg Biffle's team, when they came down pit road, changed 4 tires. So that means they do not get a replacement for the tire that was flat on Greg Biffle's car. He now only has 2 sets of tires to finish the race with.
But these laps are clicking down. They run another 10 or 15 laps under yellow. He's going to come in top off with gas, and he's going to have a pretty good set of tires on his car. That might play out to his advantage.
And Biffle now running in 28th position, Elton Sawyer in 27th. Biffle riding around under caution. I just can't get away from how bizarre that whole scene was.
The timing couldn't have been any worse for either one of those guys for that to happen exactly the way it did.
Yeah, if Larry Foyt did climb from his car and has gone to the care center for the mandatory checkup, and we hope to get a report on him very shortly. Back to Darlington in just a minute. NASCAR on TNT at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina, where a very serious accident has slowed the South Carolina 200. Steve Park still being attended to by the rescue workers over in turn number 2. He is still inside his car. And no doubt a serious situation, and every effort is being made to give Steve the best possible care. We have no update, and we will get one to you as soon as we possibly can.
And one reason I think that NASCAR puts up the blue tarps is just so that, there's a lot of cameras around the racetrack. They're trying their best to get him out as best they can, and they just don't want these guys with a zoom lens and all the cameras to go down and put stuff on pictures that really and truly don't need to be out there. So that's why the blue tarp is around Steve Park's car. But you're right, it was the most bizarre wreck that I've seen in a long, long time.
Dave Burns is over at the Infield Care Center and is there to get whatever update can be gotten for us as soon as possible. We have no further information at this time, but as soon as that is made available to us, Dave will report it and we'll bring it to you as fast as possible. Right now, our thoughts are with Steve and hoping this turns out okay. We'll take a break. Back to Darlington after this. Steve Park has been removed from his car and is being taken to the helicopter for the trip to the local medical center. And that is the latest update here at Darlington. Just a bizarre, terrible crash off of turn number 2 under the caution flag of all things, while we were getting set to go back racing in the South Carolina 200. While we watch what's happening with Steve, let's get an update on the other driver involved in the crash. It was Larry Foyt, and Liz has that for us. Liz?
And Alan, I'm out in front of the Infield Care Center where Larry is still inside. NASCAR has said that he is okay. He's feeling a little woozy right now. The doctors have administered IV to give him some fluids and get that started. But the good word is he's okay. Again, just a little woozy, just need a little time to get his feet back on the ground. And we will keep you posted as things change here. Alan.
All right, Liz, thanks. So that's good news on Larry. A very hard crash for him as well. And we're glad that he's doing okay. So Steve Park out of his car and headed to the helicopter for a trip to the local hospital, and we'll continue to monitor and give you whatever updates we can as quickly as possible. We'll come back in a minute. Back at Darlington Raceway, under caution still after the red flag for rain and then the just bizarre accident off of turn number 2 involving Steve Park and Larry Foyt. Through all of this, I don't think we've mentioned yet that Mike Skinner is now the leader of the race after the problems for Ryan Newman under the red flag with the tire coming off his car. Skinner's the leader. Jason Keller is second. Jeff Green third. Jimmy Spencer fourth. And Lyndon Amick is the 5th place driver. And the rest of the top 10 are Matt Kenseth, Kenny Wallace, Jimmy Johnson, Bobby Hamilton Jr., and Kevin Grubb. The accident scene over in turn number 2 is about cleaned up, and we should be able to go back racing here momentarily. Steve Park is in the helicopter that is just lifting off from the racetrack grounds and is about to head out to the local hospital. And our thoughts and prayers are right now with Steve, and we'll hope for good news. Obviously a very serious situation. We'll hope that the prognosis is good when we get our first report.
And once again, folks, one of the most bizarre crashes that we've seen in a long, long time. The cars are getting ready to go to green, back to the green. Larry Foyt on the inside is coming up, and all of a sudden Steve Park's car, the 31, just veers left. And Wally and I have talked about it. It looks like maybe that one of the axles broke on the car as he was hitting the accelerator and caused the car to veer. There all of a sudden the 31 car just turns left for some reason, and you see the purple car of Larry Foyt with nowhere to go.
No reaction time. Nothing. Boy. Well, we'll keep after whatever information we can for you, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. In the meantime, let's get back to the race. Ryan Newman just was on pit road under this caution. Marty?
Yeah, well, the theory, him coming down pit road, Alan, they put on 4 new tires, made a little bit of an adjustment, put fuel on. The theory there is that he's going to have to start very far back in the field. They've got a lot of lap cars or a lot of cars that they are probably faster than to get through. Better to do that with newer tires rather than older tires, so they think that will be a big advantage as he tries to come up through the field having those fresh tires.
I think that's a good call. Plus, he's got 35 more laps of fuel on board right now, so...
Wally, you're a driver. You've been sitting behind the wheel of your race car. Both of you guys watching this go on. Obviously, you've been asking questions of your spotter and crew chief. How do you get your head back into racing here? How do you go right back at it?
Well, the best way is to get that green flag flying, because obviously, you know, we're all competitors, and there's times that on the racetrack we hate each other's guts, but that's the last thing any of us want to see to one of our buddies and competitors out there is somebody getting hurt. So the best medicine for these drivers right now is to get that green flag flying and get back to racing.
And the first lap or two, you probably will not run as aggressively as normal. But after about 2 laps, all of a sudden your focus becomes on passing that car in front of you. And you're back racing again.
Going to be another couple of laps of caution, so we'll take a commercial break here. Expect the restart. When we come back, you're watching NASCAR on TNT. Back at Darlington, and we are underway once again in the South Carolina 200 presented by Applebee's. Mike Skinner leads Jason Keller into turn 1.
And Kevin Harvick on the inside the 2 car makes a move, gets by the 18 of McLaughlin, goes to 11th.
There's Jeff Burton up to the inside to try and pick up a spot. That's 13th on Jamie McMurray.
Battle for lead as Jason Keller, the 57, looked on the inside of Mike Skinner. Here he comes again.
They ran 26 laps under the caution, plus the 23.5-minute red flag, and now we're back at it here in Darlington. Dave Burns has an update for us on Steve Park. Dave, what's going on?
Alan, I'm standing by with Kathy Mock, who is the Director of Public Relations here at Darlington. Kathy, what can you tell us about Steve Park's condition?
Steve Park was taken to Carolina's hospital system in Florence, South Carolina. About 5 minutes away, he was transported by chopper. He was alert and communicating, and that's all the information that we have right now.
So when they took him out of the car, he was awake, he was conscious?
Yes, he was alert and talking.
Okay, well, that's the update. The very first word from the raceway is very good news, guys, and we'll just hope for continued good news about Steve Park.
Wow, that's great.
That is fantastic news. Now we can really get back to racing.
Further updates on Steve as they become available. Back to the race. McLaughlin, Burton, Grubb racing for 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Come on, Jeff, gain some spots.
Very good, BP.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
Hey, look at that, 24th, and he's up to 12, so he's gained 12 already.
He knows how to run this racetrack. He's really good here.
Won this race in 1997, did Jeff Burton. Also been to victory lane on a couple of occasions in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series here. That's Mike Skinner in the 21, Jason Keller in the 57.
What's up with this paint job on Skinner's car?
Would you like to know?
Yeah, I really would, because it looks like somebody just threw paint at it.
I will tell you, that is the result of a contest among his sponsor Rockwell's employees. Dave?
Well, those employees are here this weekend, and it's a great little contest. Actually, the 16-year-old son of one of the employees, and Alan, if you got the name, you can jump in, because I'm scrambling for it on my notepad right now.
How about Chris Kettle?
That's the guy. And in fact, they said that he drew it out on paper and then gave it to the graphics people, and they made it all up. And his whole family's here this weekend. They're having a ball seeing their car on the track.
You asked? We told.
Sorry I asked.
Lap 43, brought to you by STP.
Come on if you want to.
Oh, here we go. I don't think Happy wants a 9 car to get by. Ran him down almost to the inside wall. Now he's going back on the inside. Oh.
And that's classic here for Darlington. If you go into turn 1 and you're low, you're going to slide all the way to the top of the racetrack. So the guy behind you can cut underneath you and get down like exactly how Mr. Harvick did it.
So Jeff Burton is up to 11th. McLaughlin is 12th. Kevin Grubb is trying to get that from him. Tracking Greg Biffle and Elton Sawyer. Remember, they took different choices on those tire stops way back at the end of the red flag. Biffle is already up to 19th. And Sawyer, just changing the one tire, has only made it back to 27th. And as for Ryan Newman, up to 20th. From the back of the field.
All right, here we go again. Jeff Burton this time has a run on Harvick, and this time Harvick decides he's not going to run him down on the inside.
Burton to 10th.
Didn't squeeze off that throttle over off turn 2.
Talking about Newman a minute ago, he just took 19th away from Jamie McMurray in the 27, Marty.
Yeah, you think those new tires helped, guys? I would say they did. They restarted 31st on lap 38th, and here we are about 7 laps later, and they are already up to 19th, and he's moving through the field.
There's Greg Biffle, a 60 car, trying to get on the inside of Dan Partisan, 32.
Last time we saw.
And look at this. Here comes Newman. Just drives by Biffle.
And there again, the guy on the outside in that position has got to get off the gas.
Matt Kenseth, 5th place. Trying to take it away from Lyndon Amick.
Whoa, he got loose right there. Matt got real loose up there.
And here comes Kenny Wallace.
Now, 35 car will probably have to get off the throttle and let him go. Tried cutting underneath him, but couldn't pull that one off.
Clear, baby. That's it. Nice and smooth. Spirit to back about 3. Come on.
That's Kenny Wallace's spotter. What's his name again? Kenny Wallace.
Big boy. Big boy?
Big boy?
Fat boy.
Yeah.
Fat boy.
Lyndon Amick making a rare appearance this season, Dave.
And, of course, he's got Tony Lambert as his crew chief, and Lambert was the guy that took Mark Martin to all those Busch Series wins, including a bunch here at Darlington. Lyndon radioed in that he was a little bit tight going into the corner, and I think that was evidenced by the way he got past there. That's about the only thing wrong with the car right now. That's a car they feel very good about because, again, crew chief Tony Lambert knew what kind of setup to throw at it.
Lyndon Amick making only his 5th start of the NASCAR Busch Series season. Looking down on Darlington Raceway from our U.S. Army Skycam. Only at 1.
We see Jeff Burton. We saw him pass Kevin Harvick just a couple of laps ago. But Kevin Harvick is nowhere in the picture. Jeff Burton is just simply driven away from it. Oh, Jimmy Johnson. Tail's a little happy, isn't it? It's waving to everyone.
8th place for Johnson. Burton's in 9th. In fact, Harvick has lost 3 positions since Burton passed him. Jeffrey Bodine's got some problems. Let's get an update from Matt.
The misfortunes do continue for the 66 team. Jeffrey's pulled the 66 behind the wall. Apparently something electrical amiss on this Tripartite Chevrolet. The battery is dead. They're checking different parts of the electrical system. They're going to change the battery. But obviously bad luck has hit Jeffrey once again.
Also behind the wall are Mark Voigt, Drew White, the Brad T cars, Michael Dawkins, Tina Gordon, and Ricky Sanders. All those cars are out of the race, along with the machines of Steve Park and Larry Foyt.
Jeff Burton just goes by the 35 car to move into the 8th position. I'm sorry, 7th position.
Inside. Clear behind him. Clear low.
This is 13th place.
All around. 2 back to 26. He's got a little bit of a run. Still clear.
Dave, what's going on with Harvick?
Clear.
Harvick right now, Alan, is a little bit tight. Before they stopped for the rain earlier, he was loose, but I think that just had to do with the rain. But now that car has gone tight, and guys like Ryan Newman are just having a field day with him.
Ryan Newman was down on the apron, getting underneath that 2 car down there in 1 and 2. He was way low.
Well, we said it was going to be fun to watch him come through the pack.
And so far it has been. Kevin Harvick, the 2 cars backed up to 14th position.
Mike Skinner still leading Jason Keller. Put a little bit of distance on 3rd place Jeff Green. About 2 seconds back to 3rd place. So far, a pretty good race for Skinner, Dave.
So far, Alan, but I want to have Benny check the front grille of that car. Remember, Benny, when we had Matt Kenseth at Michigan, he had all kinds of stuff on there, and he had stuff that I couldn't see, but your eagle eye caught. Well, right now, apparently there's a hot dog wrapper on Mike Skinner's front grille, and the car is running a little hot. He's radioed that in. Gives it maybe a little bit more downforce, but when they start covering up that front grille, the temperatures go up in the motor, and that's not good.
Hey,
Let's go
Dave.
to Marty.
Hey, that's a cheeseburger wrapper, Dave, not a hot dog wrapper. Marty?
And, guys, I think he's a little more worried about the man behind him, Jason Keller. This is when Jason thinks his car is going to come in. They were very good on the long runs in happy hour yesterday. I asked him how the car felt in happy hour. He said uncomfortable, but that's the way it's supposed to feel at Darlington. He said if the car is comfortable to you at Darlington, you're not going to be fast on Saturday or Sunday.
Let's talk a little strategy here just for a second as we check on Jimmy Johnson trying to defend his spot. That's 10th place, Kevin Grubb. Ryan Newman coming through.
And Grubb saw that 0-2 car coming, and he said, I know that's a fast car. Let me get out of the way before I get run over. Oh.
Impatience will bite you here.
Like I said, this racetrack really doesn't like inexperienced drivers.
Got the position.
But I'll tell you, it might like talented race car drivers, and Ryan Newman is very, very talented.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. passing Kevin Grubb. Maybe not for long. That's what I just love about that corner here at this racetrack. Let's talk strategy here for a second. We had 26 laps under the yellow flag. We're now at lap 57. At some point, normally in a race, you get around lap 50, you're going to want to pit for tires if you get a caution flag. How long do these guys run before they come in on the green?
How many laps of caution flag did you say we had?
26.
So that's about 13 laps of green. So I think they could probably go 60, 65 laps of green flag racing. Probably 80 laps on the board before they make a stop. Between 75 and 80.
Because all those laps under caution and the red for rain and all that have thrown the pre-race pit stop plan out the window.
Oh, yes.
Let's get a further update on Larry Foyt. Here's Liz.
And I'm back. We are back again with Kathy Mott. Kathy, can you give us an update on Larry Foyt?
Yes, Larry Foyt's being treated in the infield care center. He's in stable condition. They're going to keep him in here for a little while longer just for observation purposes, but he is stable condition.
Which is great news, as we said before. Alan?
All right, Liz, thank you. Again, Steve Park was alert and talking when he was taken from his race car. He was transported to a local hospital. A further update as soon as we can, but certainly that's good news for as difficult as the situation looked over there in turn number 2 a little while back.
Greg Biff with a 60 car and Kevin Harvick both gets by the Dr. Pepper car, Bobby Hamilton Jr. There's Hamilton.
That's going to shuffle him back to 16th place.
And Randy LaJoy, the 7 car, gets by as well.
I heard a rumor about LaJoy this week, Benny. I heard that his 40th birthday party was held last Saturday night, and they kind of had our broadcast from Bristol on in the background, but I heard things were a little bit wild.
Knowing Randy, I would think that was correct. By the way, you know who else had a birthday Tuesday? Kelly Earnhardt Home, Dale's daughter.
Kevin Grubb on Lyndon Abick. 10th place at stake here.
Oh, boy, I tell you, these guys are really losing the back off these corners 2 and 4.
And usually what happens when you're coming out before there, Benny, when you're underneath the guy, you get into a push. And the car, so you start turning the wheel more, and then it jumps loose when you get out of the corner. So that's probably exactly what happened.
Jason Keller still applying pressure to Mike Skinner for the race lead, but still not gotten by. Jeffrey Bodine coming back out from behind the wall. He's in 35th position, 17 laps down.
Well, look how much lower on the racetrack Jason Keller is running than Mike Skinner. I noticed off turn 2 that Skinner was using all the racetrack, going up very, very high off 2. If we follow the 21 watch, Wally, how he really uses the gray area up off turn 2. Watch this, huh? Wow.
They stayed with him.
Using it all.
So far, he hasn't gotten around him. 63 laps complete in the South Carolina 200 presented by Applebee's. Mike Skinner is your leader. Back at Darlington under the second caution of the South Carolina 200 presented by Applebee's, and here come the leaders onto pit road. Skinner, Keller, Jeff Green, Spencer, Jeff Burton, the top 5, followed by Kenseth, Kenny Wallace, McLaughlin, Newman, all the way up to 9th, and Kevin Grubb. Matt
Kenseth enters pits road in the 6th position. This will be a 4-tire stop. They make a wedge adjustment on the right rear. They also made an air pressure adjustment on the right front. He has been tight all day today.
And Mike Skinner is in. They made a wedge adjustment. He was a little loose getting in. That was the only adjustment he wanted. As for the 10 car of Jeff Green, they made a chassis adjustment as well. Marty?
South Carolina native Jason Keller on pit road. He was a little bit free through the middle of the corner, half a pound in the right front, and not a very good stop for these guys on pit road. 4 tires.
Now he went in second. He's going to come off pit road 7th.
That's not good. You know, those guys on the 0-2 car, they're trying their best to make up to Ryan Newman right now, because I think he was about 9th when he made his pit stop, and he's going to come out, let's see, probably 4th or 5th.
Yep.
4th.
I'd say they made it up on that one.
Yeah, they're making up. They're trying their best to say, I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry, buddy. Let me make it up to you.
Let's take a look at why we are under the yellow flag. It happened off of turn number 2. 32 cars, Dan Pardis.
He might be going to get a touch here from the 49 car.
Yep, he got a touch, BP.
Andy Kirby driving the 49 this week. And David Green sees him, avoids him.
And it doesn't take much.
$15 yards, unnecessary roughness.
Tell you what, he's so lucky that he doesn't back up the racetrack in front of all those other cars. I saw Tolsma in the 25 car go by.
I was happy for that, too.
Remember, the last time we saw Dan Pardis was in that vicious wreck out in Chicagoland when he had got forced into the wall and came right back down the traffic in the middle of everyone. Or, the car in front of him, and he hit the back of the other car right up to the windshield.
Windshield deep. There's Andy Kirby making a pit stop.
Pardis was in a back brace for a couple of weeks after that. Now let's go back and take a look at it. This was back second weekend of July out at the Chicagoland Speedway. Wreck happened off of turn number 2. That's Randy Tolsma in the 25. David Donahue was driving that car at the time, and there came Pardis.
Man. Folks, you've heard of windshield deep? That was literally windshield deep on that 32 car. The rear bumper hits the windshield. That's about as far as you can go.
Talked to Dan yesterday here at Darlington. He said, I was in a back brace for a couple of weeks, but other than that, no ill effect. Everything was just fine.
Terry 49 is pulling up saying, sorry about that, Dan. I didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, he's trying his best to apologize. Okay, that's out of the way. Now let's go back to race. Maybe.
Well, Ryan Newman's back up to 4th after that problem while he was leading earlier, Marty.
Yeah, and the BP challenge was on down here. These guys were trying to beat Vinny's time, which is, of course, if they get under 12.9, Vinny pays everybody on this team, you see right here, $100. So they came in, they timed the stop. You're safe, Vinny. 14.6, but they did a great job. They got him up to 4th.
All right, that was a good job, and that didn't cost me any money. That's a real good job.
9th to 4th for Newman. Jason Keller in 2nd, out 7th. Jimmy Spencer lost 4 spots on pit road. He came in 4th, out 8th. And Jeff Burton, the big winner, in 5th and out 3rd. Looking down on Darlington Raceway from the U.S. Army Skycam, 212 ways to be a soldier. Find out more at GoArmy.com.
On our Army helicopter, I see some raindrops.
They're going to get to him first before they get down to the racetrack.
Yeah, that's true.
Spotters all getting ready to call the restart for their drivers.
Yeah, Lonnie Russell. Hey, going back green.
Randy Tolsma will be the car up to the inside of leader Mike Skinner, and we'll go back at it at lap number 69.
Green flag, green flag.
Jeff Green, the 10 car, got to run. Got to lead.
Here comes
Dig hard,
Burton.
buddy. Dig hard. 9 cars coming with you. Dig hard. 9 car right there with you now.
Up a little bit. Listen to Keith Barnwell, Jeff Green's spotter, talk to the new leader. Third driver to pace this event. Ryan Newman led the opening 15 laps. Mike Skinner led 54. Now it's Jeff Green, but for how long?
Looking inside, clear behind him, clear behind him.
Keith, he had passed at the time you said anything.
It's 2 back, coming to you.
And Newman, we see, has been able to get by Skinner. Watch this, just drive under, turn left, and drive under that 10 car.
Newman to second.
Wow, that's pretty.
Here comes Skinner on Jeff Green for third.
Here comes Jeff Green on Skinner for third.
Clear.
We will see that all day long in the Southern 500 tomorrow.
Everybody thinks it's going to rain, buddy. Keep digging hard. You can clear all around.
We're only 2 laps from halfway.
And I think that's one reason that Jeff Burton is really running so hard right now. We talk about managing your tires, saving your tires. They aren't doing that right now. They're running as hard as they can because they think that it might rain. And you're right, in 2 laps, this race would be official.
And Jeff Burton has won a race or 2 here by the rain.
Yes, he
thanks
has.
to the rain. Being right position.
He won $1 million here one time in the rain, if I remember correctly.
Yep. And he didn't give us any of it.
Not a dime.
Check speeds at the line. You wouldn't give us any of it either if you won it.
Alan, that's not true. I'd give Benny some. I wouldn't give him some.
Fine. You drivers all stick together. Checking back, Mike McLaughlin in the 18 heads the group racing for 5th spot. It's Kenseth in the 17, Keller in the 57, Spencer and Grubb also in there, and then Harvick next in line. And we are halfway. It is an official race. If the rain comes now,
it will be wet.
It could be over. And it's funny that we're seeing those pepperings on the camera because the sky looks about as bright as it has all day.
We're going the distance.
That's your bold prediction?
That's it.
All right.
But now the real question, can anyone make it the rest of the way without stopping? I don't think so.
I don't think the driver would want to.
And Spencer passes Keller, but Keller tries it, can't quite make it back.
See, that's one of those funny things about Darlington. Keller stuck the nose under Kenseth in turn 4, and when he had to squeeze off the throttle coming off the corner because he couldn't get a run on Kenseth, Spencer had the momentum on him from behind. Instead of gaining the spot just by risking trying to pick one up, he lost one.
You saw the speeds of the line just a moment ago. You saw 160 miles per hour. Last time by, they ran 157 miles per hour. 3 miles per hour. Those tires have slowed down just in the last few laps.
Marty?
And the crew for Ryan Newman, if they could go all the way on one more stop or without stopping at all. I said, Benny wants stopping. He said, ask Benny if he was driving, if he would want to go all the way without stopping.
The answer would be a no. I'd like to have some tires about every 30, 40 laps.
Please.
Please.
Jimmy Johnson taking 10th spot away from Kevin Harvick. So Kevin Harvick, who has finished first, third, first, second, first in the last 5 NASCAR Busch Series races, sort of subpar so far here at Darlington. He is now outside of the top 10. Just past the midway point of the South Carolina 200. The South Carolina 200, presented by Applebee's from Darlington, is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light. Busch, the proud sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series. And by 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls. If it's Labor Day weekend in NASCAR, it can only mean one thing. It has meant the same thing since 1950. Tough old Darlington Raceway in the PD region of South Carolina. Here's our Napa Field summary of today's South Carolina 200. Mike Skinner, Ryan Newman, Jeff Burton, and Jeff Green, the 4 drivers who have been out in front. The big story of the day, first a 23-minute rain delay just after we got underway. And then on the caution from that red flag, before we even got back racing, a vicious crash off of turn number 2 that injured driver Steve Park. Steve has been transported to a local hospital. We'll get an update from there as soon as one becomes available. He was alert and talking to the safety workers when he was removed from his car. But it was one of the most bizarre accidents I've ever seen in my years around this sport.
Jeff Burton is running a little bit high down in 1 and 2.
Oh, that car is working, Benny. For him to run that high line, that smooth, he's making it look easy.
What? As he goes right up next to the outside rail. The reason I didn't say anything, I kept waiting for the sound of the sheet metal rubbing the concrete.
This is 6th place. Matt Kenseth in the 17, trying to fend off Jimmy Spencer in the 1. And then you've got Jason Keller and Kevin Grubb racing right behind him. Mike McLaughlin in the 18 is also in that. Give that lap car a little more clearance there, Jason. That was Mike Harmon in the 44. It's going to cost him a spot.
You can't really, because you have got to be so low getting into turn 1, because it takes all that asphalt for you to slide up the racetrack. When you go in that corner, you slide all the way up there. So you can't go in high or the wall will stop you from sliding.
Remember how Benny was talking a little bit ago after the restart? They were running 160 miles an hour, then 157. What are they running now?
Well, 154, the leader last time by ran. The 02 car of Ryan Newman only ran 152.5. So his car in racing trim not exactly right.
He didn't have to pass the 25, though, did he, that lap?
He might have. Let's see this time as he comes by if he's a little bit faster. Jeff Burton that time, 154. Ryan Newman, 154. So you're right, he passed a slower car.
Point being, they put another 10 laps on the tires, and that's how rapidly this old, tough racetrack chews them up. And that translates to the driver's hands with blisters.
Everything, you know, people try to explain how you run this racetrack. It's in slow motion. Let's take a lap with Jeff here.
Start-finish line.
Okay, now where we go. Start-finish line going to 1. You want to get into 1 low, almost on the apron. Right there. Then the car just drifts up to the wall. Get on the gas. If you're good, you don't have to get off the gas all the way. He had to get off the gas on a little bit. Back on the throttle. Turn 2, that wall jumps right back at you. Almost feels like it comes right back into the racetrack. Run into 3, same thing. Go low, the car will drift. 4-wheel slide all the way to the wall. Pick up the throttle. Gently, gently, gently give it gas. I treat the gas pedal like an egg here. You've got to be very, very fragile with that gas pedal.
Now down in the middle of the corner, right here, when you're back on the throttle, you can't see where you're going. It's all by feel. When the driver tries to see around the corner, he can't. He just kind of has to follow the yellow lines, the black lines, as he goes around the corner where the other cars have been.
And the reason you have to lift a little bit there in turns 1 and 2 is to get the car to turn. If you stayed on the gas, you would just hit the wall in turn 2. So you get out of the throttle, let them front tires grip to turn you, then you get back on the gas.
Our U.S. Army Skycam with our aerial view of Darlington. Be an Army of 1. Find out more at GoArmy.com. When you talk about the car drifting up to the wall, is it drifting because that's where you have to let it go, or is it literally sliding on you?
It is sliding. You're in a 4-wheel slide, especially when you got this many laps on the tires. You are sliding up the racetrack.
You said something yesterday when we were talking here at the racetrack about how it's like driving on ice, except at 160 miles an hour.
It's exactly what it is. And, I mean, you'll go down into turn 3 or even down into turn 1, and you're like, oh, I'm going to hit the wall this time. I'm definitely going to hit the wall. But it's almost like there's a little bit of cushion of air in between that door and that wall that helps you stay off the wall. Now, usually I hit the wall right off the bat when I come here, and that gives me about 2 inches more clearance. So it gives me a little bit more room. So I try to get that out of the way early.
I'm sure your crew chief appreciates you making that clearance.
Well, they all know.
Yeah. Jeff Burton is out in front of Ryan Newman by 2.5 seconds. This is Kevin Grubb closing in on Jimmy Spencer for 7th.
While we watch this, Dan Parnas had an unscheduled stop for a tire change. the 32 car we saw spin a few laps ago.
Kevin Grubb, 5 top 10 finishes in his last 9 races after a very difficult start to the season in that 37 car. 23-year-old from the Richmond, Virginia area is kind of coming on.
Now Kevin's going to, what he's trying to do here, Jimmy's running that high line, so the only way really Kevin's going to pull this off is if he runs low. Like he's trying to get under the 1 car right now, but the car just won't stick enough for him to be able to stick it underneath them. So when he gets down to turn 1, he's side by side with Jimmy.
Best finish at Darlington for Kevin Grubb, a 12th place run. That was back in March of a year ago, March of 2000. Started 13th. He's running 8th right now behind Jeff Burton. He's out in front of the South Carolina 200. We're at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. NASCAR on TNT with the NASCAR Busch Series. You're riding with point leader Kevin Harvick, who's back in 10th place. And we take a look at our NASCAR Busch Series update. Harvick with a massive lead over Jason Keller coming into the race. 9 to go, including today. He couldn't lose the lead right now if he fell out of this race and the one at Richmond next week. But
that's a great camera shot. Look at the car in the mirror.
Pretty cool, nice. It is cool. But Kevin would like to see the car in front of him in the rearview mirror.
Let's get an update on Harvick's race so far from Dave Burns.
And you're right, Benny. He'd like to pass Jason Keller and about a dozen other cars and get way out in front of this thing. But right now the car is still too tight. I just checked with Todd Barrier, his crew chief, and though they tried to loosen it up last time and give him a little bit more forward bite so he could get off the corners better, they were not able to do so. And he's running at a pace 2 to 3 tenths behind the leader, Jeff Burton.
Car was awfully loose there.
Yeah, when he got down on the bottom of the racetrack coming off turn 4, got a little bit loose, did Happy Harvick.
And like I said, there's no grip right now. These cars are sliding around so much. You've got to be so gentle with that throttle, because if you jump on that gas, that's what's going to happen. There's no gription.
Gription. Add that one to Wally's dictionary. Let's go back and, whoa, there's a loose race car. Jason Keller trying to hang on. Let's go back and take a look at our Williams virtual garage and see what a loose race car really is all about.
All right, here we go down in the corner. Turn the wheel preferred line around the bottom of the racetrack, and all of a sudden the back end is like it's on ice. That is a little exaggeration, but that's what we call loose in stock car racing.
I can see the problem. That car doesn't have enough spoiler on it. That's why that car is so loose. Little spoilers.
This is Jamie McMurray in Williams' car.
Good lap right there, just like that.
Currently in 23rd position, and the spotter said, that was a good lap. Just keep doing that over and over again.
Yeah, but the driver's saying, I don't know what I did that time.
Oh, goes back to inexperience at Darlington. This is only Jamie's 27th NASCAR Busch Series start and only his second here at Darlington. So he's still trying to figure the place out.
That's Hank Parker Jr., the white car directly in front of him.
Watch how far. Look at how fast that wall comes up on it, coming out of 2.
Mr. Parker almost hit the wall that time off turn 2.
There's a look at Jamie. And again, he's running in 23rd place. Place, Greg Biffle and Kenny Wallace. Haven't talked about either one of them for a while. Biffle had the flat tire under the rain caution, came in, changed 4, moved up through the field, and then just kind of stalled out.
That's Chad Little back in the 74 car, trying to take a spot away from Kenny Wallace.
Passing flag being shown to Randy Tolsma, the 25 car. He's 3 laps down, back in 30th place.
It's hard to get out of the way here.
It's so hard.
There's nowhere to go.
Jeff Burton has extended his lead over Ryan Newman from 2.5 to 3.9 seconds. Here's Matt.
Each lap, Jeff Burton has been floating between 1/10 and 3/10 of a second faster each lap than the 0-2 of Ryan Newman. Tommy Morgan is excruciating. Tommy, how do you think the final 45 or so laps are going to play out, knowing the changes you made on that last stop?
Well, we kind of tightened it up, probably figuring about it to go all the way. And right now we're a little short on fuel, and we're going to see what happens here. I don't know if we can make it or not. We're going to make a gamble. I don't know.
How close are you?
Huh?
How close are you?
Lap 2.
That's Tommy Morgan, Jeff Burton's crew chief. Roush Racing's won 6 of the last 8 fall events here, Marty.
Well, the lead is now to 4 seconds for Jeff Burton, and we'll call Matt Borland, the crew chief for Ryan Newman, down here to talk about whether Ryan Newman can catch Jeff Burton. And I think the bigger objective right now for Ryan Newman is trying to keep Jeff Green behind him. Matt's going to call the lap time to Ryan. Can you catch Jeff Burton, or can you keep Jeff Green behind you?
I think Jeff Burton's going to be pretty tough to catch. I don't know about Jeff Green yet. He's coming up pretty good, so we'll see how it happens.
Can you make it all the way? Well, he's going to go back up there. They're very close as to whether or not they can make it all the way on fuel, just like Jeff Burton. Today, Burns.
And Harold Hawley is Jeff Green's crew chief. You won here in the spring. Can you catch the 9 and do it again?
Well, we're getting off easy to pit here. I believe we'll be okay. Next quick 4 Taurus is awesome today. I'll tell you what, the victory got first off. We need one more adjustment. Right now, this stage green, we're going to fall about 10 laps short. I don't know if Jeff gets hurt to get a little better fuel mileage. We're going to probably fall about 8 laps. We get one more adjustment, I believe we can get it.
What do you want to adjust, Harold, to get him looser?
I think we just need a couple of rounds of wedge and we'll be okay.
Harold Hawley, he will try to win again for 2 times at Darlington the same year, guys. That would be something.
Tommy Morgan talks about Jeff Burton, Jen Carr almost got in the wall, being about 2 laps short on fuel. And I think he gets better fuel mileage than any other car in the NASCAR Busch Series, or at least as good.
Yeah, and you heard Jeff Green's crew chief Harold Hawley say they were going to be 10 laps short, so there's proof of that.
That sounds about right.
But here's the bigger issue, I think. They stopped with 81 laps to go. Can you run 81 laps here on tires? Let alone your lap speeds and that kind of thing. Just can you run that far?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to?
No, you want to, but if you have to, I think you can.
If you continue to run, if Jeff stays out there and runs, nobody's going to be able to catch him, even if they stop for tires. So that's a gamble you need to take if you think you can make it on fuel.
We saw Jeff Burton put a lap on the 46 of Ashton Lewis. He's back in 25th place. Now the first car 1 lap down.
Battle still wages on between the 60 car of Greg Biffle, the 48 of Kenny Wallace, and the 74 of Chad Little.
This is 13th place.
And here you go. Now 48 really has the spot. Watch the 74 go with him. 60 car's got to check up because he knows he doesn't want to be on the outside going into 1, and he lost 2 spots there. But there's nothing else he could have done.
Jeff Burton's lead at 3.5 seconds with 38 laps to go. It's the South Carolina 200 from Darlington on TNT. Laps to go in the South Carolina 200 presented by Applebee's. Part of the NASCAR Labor Day weekend car. It's the 52nd running of the Mountain Dew Southern 500. You'll see and the race tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time.
Good battle for second spot. The 02 car in the pole center, Ryan Newman, and last year's NASCAR Busch Series champion Jeff Green in the 10. 34 car is David Green. That's Jeff Green's older brother.
David's in 27th. He now becomes the first car 1 lap down.
You're doing good on Green there, but if he tries anything, he's probably going to look to your outside off of 4. That's where he's been the strongest.
That's Ryan Newman's radio.
Outside off of 4.
I don't think so.
That'd be impressive.
Greg Biffle on pit road.
Wow.
Green flag stop with 31 to go.
This is a huge huge gamble. Marty?
And he's going to come in a lot earlier than everybody else, Penny. They're going to take on 4 tires, and Greg's not been very happy all day long. They're also going to make a track bar adjustment on the Granger Ford, and they're going to go up 1 round. That means they're a little bit tight. So Biffle going to take on 4 tires. He has some of Jeff Burton's crew helping him out, changing tires here, and not a bad stop for these guys. 4 tires in a way.
And they also either put a rubber in the right rear spring or took one out, Marty. Did something. The rear tire changer made some type of adjustment under the car.
All clear. All clear.
So Biffle's at least 1 lap down. May end up 2.
All clear. Joe's going to spot you for a while here now. I'm going to hit him if he does something wrong.
That was awkward when he came up onto the track over there, wasn't it?
Well, he really drove up too quickly into the racing groove, but they said he was clear, so that's why he did it. But I think the transition from the apron to the racetrack made it look awkward.
He's 2 laps down to Jeff Burton now, back in 28th place. So that was a huge gamble.
But right now, Jeff Burton is running laps around 152 miles per hour. Greg Biffle will need to be able to run around 160 miles per hour. Marty?
Yeah, Benny, you're right. I saw that too, but I wasn't sure what they did, so I wasn't going to say anything on the air until we confirmed it. They put a rubber in the right rear, so Biffle a lot tight that time, adding a rubber to the right rear.
Jimmy Spencer lost his position just a moment ago to Kevin Harvick, and he's in danger of losing another spot to Scott Wimmer in the 23 car. See, now Greg Biffle, if the rest of the cars, if all these other cars have to make a pit stop and there isn't a caution flag, he made a wise move. Because he gets to go out there and run 20, 30 laps on fresh tires and make up a lot of ground on the competition.
Let's tip the cap to Scott Wimmer there. Started 33rd. He's just taken 8th spot away from Jimmy Spencer. That's a great drive for him. Another guy with little experience here at Darlington.
We've got somebody look like he got in the wall there.
Mike Skinner looks like he's hit the wall on the right side.
Dave?
Flag, heel.
Jeff Green is coming in now, and so is Mike Skinner apparently. So we've got all kinds of activity on pit road right now. And the 10 car was still too tight. We heard Harold Howley talk about that. And everybody's getting up on the wall, getting ready to make their pit stop. So all of a sudden, what was very quiet down here has become very, very busy. Jamie McMurray is in. He's going to make a pit stop. He also running low on fuel. They're going to go ahead and work on the Williams Travel Center car. And now Mike Skinner with that award-winning paint job from one of the employees' sons. Right front tire problems for Skinner. He had been complaining the car was tightening up, and they speculated that it might be a right front. And then on lap 112, he brushed the wall. And since then, they've been watching the car and said there was a little smoke wisping out of it. So hopefully they can fix all these problems for Mike at one time as they put 4 fresh tires on. Also, Jeff Green coming down pit road now. He makes his way to his stall, and they will go ahead and try to give him more grip. Jeff was complaining the tires are just plain wore out. He could get nothing. They make a chassis adjustment and try to give him that wedge that Harold Howley talked about to loosen him up. Marty?
Yeah, Jimmy Spencer is in, Dave. He is tight. They have been tight all day long. They took a pound out of the left rear tire. Right behind Jimmy Spencer is Kevin Grubb, who's been having a terrific run today. He is in 10th right now. He says he needs more overall grip, and who doesn't need that here at Darlington? They make a wedge adjustment on Kevin Grubb's car, down 1 pound on all the tires, 4 tires for Spencer. Let's go back to Dave Burns.
Track bar and wedge adjustment for Lyndon Amick. They put 4 tires on him. Pretty good stuff for these guys, and now he's gone.
And the 02 car, Ryan Newman, is making a pit stop. Marty?
I think this is a little earlier than they would have liked, Benny. The car has been terrific. The balance has been very good, but Jeff Burton was beating them on the longer runs. Still, they will make no adjustments on Ryan Newman's car. This stop a little bit longer. Some trouble in the left rear with Matt McSwain. They get the car back out on pit road with 4 tires.
Kevin Harvick and Jason Keller are on pit road. These stops with 23 laps to go. Dave?
Come on.
And Harvick is in. He's been struggling with grip off the corner. I checked with Todd Berry, his crew chief, just a little while ago. The car's still tight, and Todd kind of giving the shrug sign as to we're not sure what we should do with this thing. He shows the signs of wear here at Darlington. Tire marks on the side of the two. They'll give him 4 tires and only an air pressure adjustment. Marty?
Jason Keller comes in running 12th. Dave, the car has gotten extremely tight on that last run. They will take 4 tires, and they do make an air pressure adjustment in an attempt to loosen him up just a little bit to Matt Yoakum.
And the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, is in for his final scheduled stop. They are going to make a chassis adjustment. Still very, very tight for Kenseth. He's been tight all day. They made 3 separate adjustments on his first stop, and now he's down and away today.
And Matt, Jimmy Johnson comes in as well as Kenny Wallace. They are right next to each other. Both are going to change 4 tires and make minor adjustments to their cars. Both are running inside the top 10. And now Johnson a little slow on the left front, and he is down out of here. Drag race off of pit road.
Got 6 cars that have not yet stopped in this cycle.
And poor Tommy Morgan, the crew chief on this 9 car, what a position that he's put himself in by having the fastest car. All these other guys, if he has to stop, they have a huge advantage on it. He has to roll the dice now. He has to try to make it the rest of the way.
Jeff Burton, Mike McLaughlin, Scott Wimmer, Bobby Hamilton Jr., and Elton Sawyer are the cars that are in the lead lap that have not yet stopped. Let's go to Matt.
3 rounds of wedge for Randy LaJoie. He's already left his pit stall, but a little bit slow on the left rear was costly for LaJoie on pit road, who came in 5th.
Jay Sauter's been black flagged. Lug nut missing on his car. He's got to come back to pit road and get that replaced. So 5 cars have not pitted and have assumed the top 5 spots in the race. Everybody else is 1 lap down. So let's turn that question around on you, BP. You said that they have to stay out if you're Burton. At this point, what do they have to lose by coming in to get tires?
Well, the problem is these guys that are on the racetrack that have stopped, the 02 car who was running in 2nd spot, or the 10 car, they've stopped. They're going to be able to run 20 or 30 laps on those fresh tires and make up probably 20 or 30 seconds on the 9 car. When the 9 car makes his pit stop, he's going to be that far behind those guys.
But then he's going to have fresh tires and be running that much faster than them every lap.
But he's running out of time. He's got to make that decision quickly if he's going to pit. He can't wait. He's either got to pit now or try to go the rest of the way.
This is 5th place Elton Sawyer that he's right behind, trying to put a lap down. Not disagreeing with you, BP, just playing devil's advocate.
I understand. I mean, but he's going to stop. Talking about the 9 car, Jeff Burton, he's got to do it quickly.
Needed to have been done. Matt?
Al, they've been mulling over that decision. Frank Stoddard, Jeff Burton's Winston Cup crew chief, has paid a visit to Burton's Busch pit. They're talking about it. They can go the distance on fuel, but tire management and the tire situation is their biggest concern. They keep going back and forth. Burton says, whatever you want to do, Tommy. Tommy and Frank Stoddard are discussing it. They are pressuring up the tires. They're still thinking it over.
Look at that. His best lap was 160 miles per hour. The last lap was just over 148 miles per hour. That 160 is what he's coming. That 160 is, and we see Skinner has hit the wall hard this time. Oh, we got more cars crashing.
Rich Bickle in the 59 has spun, cautions out. And it all just paid off for Tommy Morgan, leaving Jeff Burton out there.
But Jeff needs to run hard. He doesn't need to let these guys be getting a lap back. He needs to keep as many of these cars down a lap as possible.
Kenny Wallace going to get 1 lap back. Here comes Jimmy Johnson on the apron in turn 3.
And there's not a whole lot Jeff could probably do because these guys are on better tires. He's doing everything he can do right now.
Now then.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
15 to go. Caution's out.
Now all these cars have another set of tires that they can change on the caution flag. Question is, are they going to give up that track position and put fresh tires, or you think they'll stay on the track?
Well, there are only 5 cars on the lead lap now. So, yes, they'll come in and get those tires.
Yep. And look at old Elton Sawyer snuck his way up there again. 5th spot right now.
There are only 5 cars on the lead lap. Because the caution came out after Ryan Newman and all those others had made green flag stops, they've all been trapped a lap down. You've got Burton, McLaughlin, Wimmer, Hamilton Jr., and Sawyer as the only 5 on the lead lap. Those cars that just raced back by Jeff Burton were getting 1 of 2 laps they had lost back from their green flag pit stop. Dave?
And Mike Skinner is in. And now the guy that I feel sorry for is Chris Kettle. That's a 16-year-old whose paint job made the car this weekend. And now Chris has to color it a different way as Mike has tagged the wall pretty hard. They talked about going straight back to the garage. Then they decided to keep it on pit road, tape it up a little bit, put some bungee cords on, and send it back out. But it's pretty hurt. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Todd Ziegler jumps across the wall, goes to work on the right front. This will be a 4-tire stop for Burton as the 18 car of Mike McLaughlin passes by. They're going to go up 2 pounds on all 4 tires to help with the buildup. As they put the lugs on the left side, no adjustments for Burton, and he leaves his pit.
Not a bad stop considering the Jackman had that slip and fall.
Yes, it was. We see the 18 car. McLaughlin now rolling. And Scott Wimmer also coming back on the racetrack.
Marty?
Oh, this was a huge break for Elton Sawyer's team, Allen, but when he came down pit road, he almost overshot his pits. He was on top of the hose. They had to push the car back. They lost valuable time here. They have a good stop going from the time the stop started, but it took about 5 seconds before the stop did start. They will lose some valuable time here on pit road.
I can only go back to what? You can't go too far back.
5th.
So, yeah. If they're gonna blow it, now's the time to do it because they can't go back much further than 5th spot.
Stay there, man. You're in good shape.
Just got an update on Steve Park, and let's pass this along to you. The report from the hospital is that Steve Park is awake and alert and has no serious injuries. He will be kept overnight for observation because he was unconscious when the safety workers got to him at his car in turn number 2. He did recognize his girlfriend and has had some conversation. No serious injuries for Steve Park, but he will be kept overnight for observation because he was unconscious when the safety workers got to him. Boy, that's good news.
That is terrific news.
Kenny Wallace will drive Steve Park's car in NASCAR Winston Cup Happy Hour. So, a good update there, and we continue to keep Steve Park in our thoughts. Here's what put us under the caution a moment ago at Darlington.
Kevin Grubb drives down under Rich. See what I talked about? He went low and needed all that track to slide up, but Rich Bickle happened to be there. So Rich got in the middle of that sandwich I was talking about earlier.
Now, a lot of the guys who had stopped under the green have chosen to stay out on the racetrack. There's leader Jeff Burton, 8th in line in that outside run. He's got 7 cars on the tail end of the lead lap, a full lap behind him as we go back at it with 11 laps to go.
And about 6 or 7 cars on the inside. So he actually, the leader of the race, restarted about 14th or so.
The car to keep an eye on is the 18 of McLaughlin. That's the second place car that's right behind Burton right there. Those are your 2 lead cars, the 9 and the 18. And there are now 9 laps to go when they come back.
And this is tough for Jeff. Jeff has got to be very aggressive yet really, really careful. One slip up and the 18 is going to take advantage of that.
Little fender damage on McLaughlin's car right there.
I think he got away with that one. Clear.
But he lost contact.
Yep.
You got 2 cars between you and the 18.
That's what you want to hear.
That's exactly what you want to hear.
Hit your marks. Take care of it now.
Tommy Morgan, the crew chief.
Kevin Harvick is in 11th spot.
Inside.
He was on the tail end of the lead lap.
I think the 2 and the 11 of Ron Hornaday are battling for position. Dave?
And Benny Harvick is not happy right now. That car's been so bad. They even talked about pitting this last time, and they figured, well, we can't do anything more to it. That was Kevin's thoughts. And apparently we've got a car in the wall, guys.
Kelly Denton has gotten into the outside wall. Caution's out.
Oh, man. So all those cars now get back on the lead lap. Talking about the 0-2 of Ryan Newman, the 10 car of Jeff Green.
And look, they're all stopping to make sure where the pace car goes so they don't get penalized for passing the pace car. See, the pace car started to creep out onto the track. He's trying to get back to the leader, and all these cars are trying to make sure they do the right thing.
Now they're going to do the right thing and just stand on it.
Whoa. What was that all about?
But it will be a single file restart now.
Yes, it will be.
So
single
that'll
file.
be a lot better for Jeff. That's a much cleaner deal for him to restart with nobody in front of him now. With such a fast car, he should be able to get away from these guys.
So with that caution, we've gone from 5 to 13 cars on the lead lap.
We have more trouble. I didn't realize that Kevin Grubb had smacked the wall. We saw the Kelly Denton car coming through the corner, turn 2, but Kevin Grubb's climbing out of his car.
That's the day that went from good to bad in a hurry.
I'm telling you.
6 laps from the end.
Wow.
Now the question is, can they get that car picked up and off the... And Jeff, all these cars are coming in. Dave Burns.
Well, Benny, I think what they're doing on the 10 car, I've been listening in their radio, and I don't believe that he hit anything in that altercation. They've got tires. They've got a set remaining that they can use, and they're going to put them on Jeff and try to make this car as good as they can get it. Jeff told me earlier today, he said, I may be going to win some cups next year, but every time I get in any car, I want to win. Matt?
4 fresh tires for Matt Kenseth. He overshot his pit box, had to push the car back. It was costly for the 17, but he's done. Guys?
Yeah, we can see 21 seconds when the rest of his competition probably had 16, 17 second pit stops. Yes, new tires are critical. The leader, Jeff Burton, has, what, 2 or 3 laps of green flag raced on his tires? All these cars coming in, going to try to get some 4 fresh tires and pick up all the spots they can.
He's got exactly 4 laps on his tires.
The 2 car, I should say, the 2 car, Kevin Harvick. When they restart this race, he's got to go all the way back to the 15th position.
I think Kevin Harvick's a little unhappy that Jeff Burton didn't let him have a lap back there coming to that caution.
Yeah, pushed him a little bit.
Well, that's why Burton made the swerve.
You know, I don't know where. Some rider asked me, I was talking to him yesterday at the racetrack, and I don't know where, Wally, we're along in this deal that all of a sudden we give people laps back.
Well, that's why I questioned that at Watkins Glen. I mean, you know, you're not supposed to give these guys their laps back, especially when you're racing them in your position, Jeff. Why would you give somebody like Harvick, who can come back and beat you in the end? I'm not going to give his lap back.
And remember this, what was it in New Hampshire when Jeff Burton's Roush teammate Greg Biffle was trying to get a lap back on Harvick back in May, and Harvick wouldn't give it to him, and they had their little confrontation after the race?
Yeah, I don't know. These guys can't get sore about people not getting their laps back.
Not giving a lap back. I mean, after all, you've got these guys 1.5 miles down. Why would you just give them 1.5 miles? I don't understand that.
All right, we're on 1 to go. So here's the situation. You've got the leader now in single file because it's inside of 10 laps to go. Just the lead lap cars will be at the head of the pack. But you've got cars from... It's going to be 11th on back on fresh tires, not having to mess with the lap cars.
I don't think they've got enough time. What do you think, DP?
I don't know. The 02 car is in 6th spot.
But he didn't stop for tires.
But he didn't stop just
he
here.
He stopped then. That's right.
Right. Jeff Green's the first one who stopped, and he's back in 11th place.
Okay, yeah, I don't think...
So Jeff's got to pass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 9 cars before he even gets to the car of Jeff Burton.
Well, if he would be in 11th place, then to get to the leader, he'd have to pass.
Don't start that math thing with me. You know I don't do good at math.
No, you're right. But the point is, you're right. He doesn't have enough time to pass all those cars and get to Jeff Burton.
But how many of them can he get?
Quite a few.
He'll get a bunch.
That could be fun.
I bet she gets half of them.
All right. Let's find out. 4 laps to go.
Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Green flag. Put it all around.
That's Kim Burton, Jeff's wife, checking everything out.
The yellow car way in the back. That's the first one with fresh tires. Jeff Green. So far, no progress.
Burton driving away from the 18 of Mike McLaughlin as Kim watches. Battle for second spot. Here comes Elton Sawyer. Oh, man, that was close. But Elton takes that second spot away. Here's Ryan Newman, the poster of the 02 car on the inside of Bobby Hamilton.
Fourth place there.
Still there. Clear right.
And he's got it. So Newman to fourth. Hamilton Jr. back to fifth. Now Spencer's being challenged by Jason Keller for sixth. And there's Jeff Green. And Matt Kenseth, the first two on the fresh tires, haven't helped him much. Scott Wimmer in the middle of that, the 23.
That's a problem. Jeff can't go anywhere. They're they're side by side in front of him. There's nowhere for him to go.
And the white flag is up. Final lap for Jeff Burton. Looks like all the dogfighting is going to be back here in the pack, as Burton is clear of Elton Sawyer by 0.3 of a second.
What though? Elton is coming.
And there we see Elton Sawyer as he tries his best to close in on Jeff Burton.
Oh, trouble.
Crash.
Shane Hall, Randy Tolsma involved as the leader comes off turn number 4 to the checkered flag.
Randy got a wreck on the speed.
Jeff Burton has won at Darlington. Second win here. He won the race in 1997. He's taken it again today.
And we see the 23 car, Scott Wimmer, has made contact with the outside retaining wall on this very last lap. And he's hot.
He's going after somebody. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Jeff ought to be happy that
more cars spinning and crashing up there. That's Wimmer.
It was Greg Biffle he was going after.
To the trailer.
Yep, they're already calling.
The red trailer.
They're already calling him.
Trailer. Or is it blue over there?
So Jeff Burton scores here at Darlington for the second time, his 15th career NASCAR Busch Series victory, and he becomes the 16th different winner in 25 races in 2001. Let's go back and look at the post-race venting from Scott Wimmer.
This is after, sorry, Alan, whatever did happen between the 16 and 23. 23 came back. Wow. That is payback, BB.
That's big. There now.
That is payback. Woo! Now that's a little bit uncalled for because of all the damage that he just did. That's really out of line. I mean, yeah, I can see spinning somebody out kind of like how Rusty did it last week.
Turn over there.
But he just tore up a race car there.
Wow, that's dangerous.
That's a little bit too much there.
Well, let's see why he was so angry. Oh, here's a 25 car. Randy Tolsma spinning. There's Shane Hall, the 63 car being involved. The 91 car goes by. That's Stanton Barrett. Hank Parker, that's Lyndon Amick going by.
It must have happened way after this wreck, because these guys aren't even in this wreck. Scott Wimmer or the 60 car. Maybe if we have a...
Well, we'll see. In the meantime, Jeff Burton is in victory lane at Darlington again. Marty?
Yeah, this is becoming a familiar sight. Jeff Burton will climb out of the gain forward and celebrate this fine victory here. His first Busch Series victory of the season and his first victory period this year. I was waiting for you to spray water everywhere. Where was that?
Well, I gotta run here in just a minute in happy hour, so I don't want to get all wet. But great job. These guys did a heck of a job. We struggled with our Busch program this year, but they came out and really worked hard for this race, and real proud of them. Had great pit stops and did everything we needed to do.
You're becoming very Pearson-esque here. I mean, this you and winning at Darlington is becoming a cliche.
This is my favorite place in the world. I don't know of another racetrack.
Miss Kimberly Page comes
in. And to me, this is what racing's all about. It's a tough old racetrack, and there's no pretty sweets and there's no pretty, all that good stuff. But it's just an awesome racetrack, and it's what racing's all about.
Boy, those cautions really fell your way. Those guys started short pitting. I'm sure you were kind of worried then.
Well, I didn't want to be the only one out there on that many lap tires because you you're afraid you were going to get knocked out of the way. But I knew we were okay because, you know, they weren't going to make up two laps in 18 laps, and that's what they were going to have to do. So I knew we were okay, but my biggest fear was getting run into because you'd be going so slow compared to the guys with tires on.
How come you didn't do one of those fancy burnout like those kids do?
Well, because my guys work too hard. They everybody at Roush Racing works real hard on engines and transmissions and rear end gears and chassis and bodies. And to hell if I'm going to tear it up after the race. I think it's nonsense. We work too hard to tear it up, so we keep it together when we can.
That's a veteran speaking, and Jeff Burton finally gets a victory here in 2001 to Matt Yoakum.
It's second. You can coulda, woulda, shoulda things out, but boy, how many more laps did you need where you think you could have got by?
Well, obviously we knew it was 147 when we came here, but from where we were after the rain delay, we had a left rear tire go flat. We pitted, lost all the track position, and our car wasn't very good. Ricky worked on it. The thing was awful loose, and there at the end, we finally got it pretty good, and my hat's off to Jeff Burton. Heck of a job. And then he let us get our lap back, and maybe a couple more laps, but still. Wish Michael was here. This was for you, buddy, but we'll get one here for long.
Well, he dug himself a hole with 3 DNFs in the first 4 starts, but they are sure on a tear now. Elton Sawyer second in Darlington. Dave?
Well, man, I'm not even sure what we've been able to see yet, but Greg's looking in the distance there, surveying the damage on his Granger car. Tempers with Kevin Harvick over there, too. You weren't...
I wasn't, thank
okay. You were involved with Scott.
It just, I'm sure it was a total accident, but Scott got wrecked this turn over here. He came up and apologized after the fact that he ran into me, but just destroyed the car. You know, we made it with a clean car the whole day and then got wrecked coming in the pits. But, you know, he came up and apologized. It was nothing intentional, obviously.
Honestly, you really don't think he meant to run into you?
No, because we weren't even near each other on the racetrack the whole day.
Okay. So. Well, we'll follow up with Scott, although he has apologized. We'll also check and see what the deal is with Kevin Harvick because he was being restrained by one of his people. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Nobody restraining Mike McAshoes, McLaughlin. I tell you what, a great day, good run, but boy, I know you wanted that second or first place finish. What happened there?
Well, we were just real good on a long run as the runs went on. We progressively, well, we didn't get as bad as everybody else. New tires were a little tight, took a while for it to get going. Stops, the green flag, you know, that would have been in our favor. I think we'd have been all right either way, but my guys were awesome in the pits. Good day for MBNA, third place, we'll take it.
What about the battle with the 98?
Well, you know, that's, with a couple to go, you know, you get kind of push and shove a little bit. You know, I did a similar thing to him at Michigan. So, you know, you got to take, you know.
Magic Shoes third in Darlington.
Alan? Well, I guess I owe Scott an apology because if it wasn't a payback, it was certainly interesting.
It was interesting.
But it sure looked like he was going after somebody.
What we're going to do is we're going to get a hold of Scott and hear his side. Find out exactly what did happen. How about that? While we do that, let's check out the finishing results from today's South Carolina 200, presented by Applebee's. Jeff Burton in victory lane with his first win in the Busch Series of 2001. Ryan Newman came back from the lost wheel early for a 4th place finish. Bobby Hamilton Jr., good top 5 run. Jeff Green only picked up 2 spots after the fresh tires on that late caution.
Tony Raines, a good top 10 finish today. We see 13 cars in the lead lap. Kevin Harvick, the first car lap down, in 14th position.
Here are some of the cars that had their problems, particularly at the end of the race. Rich Bickle with that late spin when he was bumped by Kevin Grubb. You had Shane Hall, Randy Tolsma involved in that last lap skirmish off turn 2. And now some of the drivers who failed to finish.
I see Steve Park in 38th and Larry Fort in 39th involved in that bizarre crash off turn 2.
Matt Yoakum.
And Ryan Newman, how would you sum up your day?
Like the year, up and down. I mean, to start up front, have an excellent qualifying run with the Altel Ford, go to the back, had that miscue with the tire falling off there, but recover, finish 4th. It just says a lot about the guys, and if we screw up, we can fix our problems sometimes.
Being a rookie, how tough mentally to have to battle back from something like this when you know you had a good car, you know you started on the pole, and have something like this happen?
I was pretty proud of myself because I was looking around the car here and I didn't put a scratch on it. So outside of what happened there with the left rear tire, it's good to come away with Darlington like that with a 4th place finish. But just look forward to going to Richmond and doing the things we can to keep learning.
The ABC Penske O2 Tour continues. Richmond, the next stop.
And I talked about inexperienced driver, but Ryan Newman today, an inexperienced.
To get a word with Scott Wimmer, we'll take a commercial break and come back with more from Darlington next on TNT. The South Carolina 200 on TNT is presented by Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood, Applebee's. Still to come, NASCAR Winston Cup Series Happy Hour here at Darlington. Practice for tomorrow's Southern 500 is going to start momentarily. Let's check the next after today's South Carolina 200. Kevin Harvick's lead coming in was 345 over Jason Keller. Lost a little bit of ground.
He lost a few points, but he has a few to spare.
Not a whole lot of change there in top 10. One spot there. Mike Coleman and Tony Raines.
Swapping a spot, and that's it. And the Busch Series heading to Richmond for a race next Friday night. You'll see on TNT. A minute ago, Dave Burns talked with Scott Wimmer.
All right, Scott Wimmer is on his way to the next. From Greg Biffle, if you did something wrong or if you didn't, what's your side of the story?
Jeff Green pinched me in the wall off the 2, and I hit it pretty hard. I was just trying to finish. He came down off the track. I couldn't turn nothing. I didn't mean to do it at all. It was my fault. I couldn't get slowed down in time. He turned down. Bad deal. Late. Next week. I don't know, probably I'll me a little bit. Say I was going too fast after a race or something, but I didn't mean to do it. It was, bad deal.
All right, that's Scott Wimmer, and apparently that was the case. He did not mean, obviously, to get in the 60 car of Greg Biffle.
And he almost got in the car with Biffle.
Yeah, watch this. Watch this, folks. Watch this crash.
Man, that's a hard lick.
I think
he was going fast for some reason.
But I think our replay guys need to back that up. We need to run that one more time.
Why was he going that fast?
Well, there we see the crash.
That's a heck of a mess.
Let's watch that replay one more time. You see, he said to Biffle he didn't have any brakes, right? Watch, folks, the left front tire. The left front. Watch this tire right there. Okay. Biffle's going to turn left. Scott's going to say, whoops.
Brakes.
He's got brakes because that tire stopped.
But it was Biffle who said he didn't have brakes. Scott didn't say that.
He said Scott told him he didn't.
What Biffle said. Scott didn't say that to us.
I think there's more to the story than what we're getting.
Either Scott forgot that they turned into the garage back there off of turn 2, and he was steaming around to get up alongside somebody and said, oh, what? We're going back here. Or something.
Yeah.
We'll give him a little rookie mistake leeway there.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Well, they got a big bill to fix that thing up before the next race at Richmond next weekend. That's for sure.
Well, hopefully they have another car to use at Richmond next week, because trust me, they're not going to use that one.
That one's not going anywhere. Well, we have seen our share of unusual Darlington occurrences today. The just bizarre accident off of turn number 2 under the caution flag that injured Steve Park, although the latest update on Steve is that he is alert and awake at the hospital with no serious injuries. But that was certainly one of the most unusual accidents I've ever seen.
And we still don't know exactly what caused Steve Park's car all of a sudden just... I mean, watch this early on in the race, and you see him there, the 31 car, the white one. All of a sudden, the car just turns left, and the 14 car of Larry Foyt is coming along. He's a lap down. If they're getting ready for the restart, Larry's going to drive up beside the lead, tussling up to the front, and all of a sudden, the car is directly in front of him.
Glad to say that Steve, again, does have no major injuries, but he will be kept overnight in the hospital here in the Darlington area for observation because he was unconscious when the safety workers reached him in that car. And so Jeff Burton has won the NASCAR Busch Series race, and now we turn our attention to tomorrow's Mountain Dew Southern 500. It's 52nd running. Happy hour about to get underway.
Yay.
You're grinning.
But it's not very happy. It's not a very happy time. 45 minutes of practice to get your car perfect. And no car's going to be perfect.
That's right. It doesn't happen. But this place it's a blast to race on. I mean, there is no grip, and you're sliding the car around. It's a four-wheel slide half the time once you go after tires. It's a real fun race. But like BP says, you're not going to get your car perfect. You're just looking for a balance. You're trying to get the car, to drive halfway decent on bad tires.
It is time for Happy Hour next on TNT.